Like, you cannot help other people if you are yourself are not safe. So if you allow people, so first you have to come to this realization, this is not selfish, right? If I continue to give what I do not have, I will not have anything left to give. And then what kind of, I don't want to say what use are you, everybody has a use and value. Like, then what? So knowing you could even use that in your argument or your discussion, like, this is what I have available and this is what I like, that's it. Like, you don't have to tell them what you have per se, but this is what I have available. If that's enough, great. If it's not, then that's just too bad. Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, back to another exciting show, the About That Wallet podcast, where I help the sandwich generation build strong financial habits so that we can talk about money, spend money, and enjoy our money with confidence. And today, I have somebody who is a money coach and has such an amazing story on how she was able to save a lot of money just using 3 easy steps. And welcome to the show, Prisca Benson. How you doing today?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, first off, congratulations on discovering the 3 steps, because one of the things that they always say, discovery is one of the biggest assets that we can give ourselves about, like, how do we learn, how do we operate, and how do we navigate the world we live in. So can you just take us back to what was that myth about money that you found out that was a lie that kind of put you on this journey?
Oh, okay. I do, for background. Okay. I graduated as a nurse in 2011 and I'm like, woo, rich, you know? And in my mind, my vision for my life was getting a high ceiling apartment and like buying stuff, right? And then I was like, you got the first paycheck. I was like, whoa, that's different, like,
Right.
when the vision of what one feels is wealth, you know, changes when you see the paycheck, and you're like, oh,
Mm,
it's not as unlimited as it's, I guess, put out to look like. So I kind of always felt that, like, okay, I could, even with that realization, like, kind of like, I could spend what I want, because I was told all the time as a kid that I couldn't, because I'm a child of immigrants. We can't afford this and we can't afford that. I'm like, let me show you what I can afford. Okay.
right.
Because I'm a nurse. So I think that's one of the biggest things, like, is not, I don't know if I want to call it a myth, but it's just like, your money is not limitless. Okay. You can live a great life with your money, but that doesn't mean you need to break bank to do it. Okay. Like, there is moderation in everything in life, and that includes your finances. So that's what I would say is like the biggest thing that I learned very quickly.
So, like, getting this degree, I mean, a lot of people right now, at least the person who's listening to this right now, feel as though they've gotten to the point where they finished the schooling. Either right now, they got their kids going to school now. What would be a good question to ask the child about their education so they don't bring too much debt to the parent or too much strain on the finances in the household?
So funny enough, I didn't have that option because my mother had saved a finite amount and the rest was like, you figure the rest out. So,
Wow. Okay.
so, and it wasn't like presented that way. I just knew what the facts were. Okay.
Mm,
And so, that dollar amount was what I initiated it with, but I also made sure I signed up for scholarships. So I think
mhm.
that, I don't know how much effort people really put into finding other ways to pay for their schooling besides loans. But there are a lot of options out there that people, I think, don't explore so much while the kid is in the high school years. So I would say that
Mhm.
would be the first step, is like, make sure that we're taking advantage before you get into, because once you get to college, like, the decisions have been made as to how this thing is going to be financed. So like, do your best to do your research beforehand to cover that. But then once you decide, okay, this is what I want to go to school for, make sure that your money is actually, the money you're going to make afterwards is going to be enough to make the debt that you may have to get make sense. Like, I think it's so unfortunate. Like, my cousin's a social worker, and I think it is such a disservice the way they treat social workers, because that
No, is
degree,
it?
huh?
Is it really that bad?
Yeah, because like, how much they make compared to the fact that they have to get a master's degree to even practice is like obscene. So you know, but I'm like, the reason that they can keep charging those is because y'all keep doing it. I'm like,
Right.
stop going to that school, stop going to the schools for that degree and see if they don't bring them costs down. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I'm not saying, of course we need social workers, you know, but being more mindful about how much money we're going to make afterwards, not just, oh, because my feelings, my vibes tell me that I want to do this degree. Like, how are we going to pay for it? You know, I think a lot of parents, especially, and I'm not a parent, so I'm not here to judge, but like, it's like, I want my kid to have an experience, or I want my kid to, you know, do what they want in life because I think, but I'm like, there's a reason why we have to put thought behind this, because if we don't do it ahead of time, then we have a lot of regrets, a lot of pain and stuff on the other side that we can avoid.
Yeah. And especially as the first gen, we don't have those options of figuring, like,
Mhm.
we had to figure out, pave the way for a lot of things. And how long did it take for you to learn that lesson to realize, like, I could have did this a lot differently?
Ooh, yeah. So for me, the first lesson, because you don't just learn one lesson,
Right.
okay? The first lesson came when I got married. And
Mm,
I got married 2 years after I graduated from nursing school. And my husband didn't have any debt and he could do stuff with his paychecks. And my paychecks were all going to Visa, MasterCard because the debt life was for me, okay? And
right.
so I was like, oh, like this is a different way to live. Okay, let me just see what that's like. So I actually started being a little bit more intentional with money then. And we started to like be more mindful together in terms of how we spend our money so that we could go on vacations, not worried about, you know, the debt hanging over us when we get back, that kind of thing. And then what really, really cinched it for me though, second lesson, was um when in 2018, I was just looking at my overall money picture. I didn't have anything specific. Even just my bank account. I'm like, this don't look like a nurse bank account. You know, somebody were to say nurse, you know, they associate that with richness. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
account don't look rich. And that's because I knew very little about growing my money. At this point, I was okay with saving some, you know, spending a little bit better, but not yet growing my money. So then I started listening to Her Money podcast by Jean Chatzky. And she had Brad and Jonathan from Choose Fi on. And I
Oh,
was
really?
learning stuff. I was like, what are these things they're saying? Maxing out retirement. Who's ever talked about that? I've never heard of that concept before then. It's like, you know, you're supposed to put money in retirement, but what's maxing it out about? What's having a fine number? What is all this? And so like that's when I started like just having more of a future vision for my money. I was like, oh, that's what I'm missing, you know? So I think in terms of like a lesson to learn is like really looking at people ahead of you and rather than like be like, well, I can't do that. Or, you know, their story is different. I mean, Brad and Jonathan are two white guys, okay? Their story
They
can be
are.
far any more different than mine, right? So I'm like, but instead of saying like, that's not for me, I'm like, what in their story could I take and apply to me and adapt to make my story? And I think that that's one limiting belief that I want to break. It crushes me when I see people succeeding financially and people in the comments being like, well, it's because of this, or I can't do this because like that mentality is not going to get you anywhere. So to me, I'm like, one thing it's been a through line through my life, like even going to nursing school, like I went to Rutgers. There were very few people that were chosen for the program. And I learned how many people applied and how many people got it. I was like, Lord, I have no clue how I got here. But it empowered me to feel like, you know, like nothing is impossible for me. That's a choice, you know, like if I don't want to do something, it's because I don't want to, not because I have some limitation that is put on me. So
So, what are your
believe in
thoughts on?
yourself.
No, I mean, I love it because one of the things that I think Anthony Mackie was talking about was that
Mm-hmm.
success is chosen. Do you
Mm-hmm.
believe it, or
Yes.
do you believe in that?
I do believe that because I see like there's always going to be circumstances, but you'll see how two people could be put in the same circumstance and how they react differently. And that's
Yeah.
very much dependent on mindset. I was actually even working on a video where we're talking about how like when somebody like let's say two people in the same situation are struggling to save, but the one person has a pessimistic view of let's say like has a pessimistic view of their finances while the other person has a optimistic view. They come across $20 some way. The person who's pessimistic is like, well, that's only $20. I'm just gonna spend it. Versus the person who's optimistic would be like, whoa, thank God I found this $20. Let me go save it. You know, so like your mentality, which is something I didn't expect. I'm a very practical, logical person. I did not know that mindset played such a role into money until I really started getting to learn about it and how other people function. I'm like, wow, and the peace and calm that comes with having it all together, I did not expect that. Like I learned so much throughout this personal finance journey, and I want other people to experience like this. I'm like, there's a lot of things we can't control, but this is something we have a lot of control over.
So what would be that well, just take us back to those 3 steps then. Like what were
Mhm.
those 3 steps that kind of got you through? Because it sounds simple.
It is. That's the
Is
beauty
it
of it.
is that
And that's the
simple?
thing. I'm like, it's not, I feel like it's not marketable to say how easy it is, but it is. Like, I was like, one is just paying yourself first. And I saw such a stark, like I feel like people say it and like they have some vague understanding that they need to save money, but it's really purposeful. Like, even when I do my budget, I try to put all my savings, do my savings first before I even pay a credit card. Cause I want my spirit, even my mind to know that I come first. Right. So, and the difference between paying like saving what's left and paying yourself first is so drastic. So when I first was like budgeting and stuff, I would do whatever's left. And so maybe one paycheck I'd save $100, next paycheck $400. This one, no. And so it was all up and down versus now that I do it first and there's a set amount that's going, say around 250 goes to savings every single paycheck, you get to see your balances grow. And so that even if you have to use that money, like you're still confident in that it's going to keep growing up versus for all you know, you use that money for something and then next month you're only putting $100, $200 in it. It's deflating. It makes such a
Yeah.
big difference to make sure that savings is happening regardless. Treat it like a bill. And I physically transfer that money first before I even pay my credit cards because I deserve it more.
Right. So that's the first one? What's the second
That's the
one?
first one, is paying yourself first. And the second is finding ways to decrease your expenses. So I'm a travel girly. I like to eat out. Okay. So that I'm not talking about like, hey, you can't have your Starbucks. You can't have this and that. There's a lot of times that we're paying for stuff just because we're used to paying for it. Like bank fees. A bank fee has never seen me, will never see me again. Okay.
Mm.
It's just not going to happen. Like, of course, if you're paying interest on your credit cards, you could get rid of all that, by paying down your debt. Even like when you travel, like certain credit cards, depending on the card you use, you could get charged an exchange fee for using your card. Never gonna see me. Okay. So like finding different ways to like do what you're doing, but at less of expense. Even my internet, I'm like, listen, I'm about to leave. Y'all want to do something about this? Because you keep running up my bill. And they're like, oh, like I will decrease it by this much to keep you. Like, I'm paying $40 when I could easily been paying $70 if I just let it be. Right.
Wow.
My car insurance, I can negotiate that sucker every 6 months. Okay. It's it will not see me. Okay. Extra cost will not see me if I can help it.
No, that's right.
And so with all those savings, then that's more money to go towards the third step, which is investing the difference. Because like a lot of times people just can't find, they're like, I don't know where I'm going to find the money. The money's there. Okay. But you're living your life on autopilot instead of being intentional, which is making it like, oh, you get your paycheck and it disappears. I'm just working to pay bills. All these vibes. And I'm like, oh, I don't want that for you. But you can make a difference by finding those pockets of money and then putting that money towards investments. Even people who invest very little comparatively, like where they're doing like $15 a week, $20 a week, they still see a big old difference than the person who does zero, right? So do it.
Nice. And so can we dive into, because I think most of my audience have, as they've been listening to the show, has shifted to that later piece as far as the investment side of the house.
Mhm.
Can you guide us on like what tools or tips that we can kind of start looking into? Because some of the brokers, I mean, we understand there's a lot of brokers that are out there like Baskin
Mhm.
Robbins, but what should we be doing once we have the money inside those accounts?
Well, first, make sure it's invested. Please
Oh,
don't
it
leave it in
is.
cash. That's just the most tragic thing. I
Mhm.
hope I never come across a client that hasn't. My heart will break. Like, just please make sure it's invested because that's really hard to put all that effort into putting that money aside and then leaving it in cash and for it not to accrue anything. That's very heartbreaking. So yes, make sure it's invested. You'll see in your accounts. Okay, if you see cash or like, no, make sure try to make that as close to zero as possible. Is the idea. Okay, so that's primary. Now, I'm not gonna tell y'all what to invest in because that's not my ministry. But I will tell you the first book that I was really into in terms of investing, because it was very much a big in the FI community, is Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. And he basically recommends just, if you're not going to do anything else, just invest in the total stock market. Okay. Which covers all the things. Now, when you are doing this in retirement accounts, you may not have those things available, right? So sometimes people just do a target date fund, which is fine. You just want to do a target date fund, it diversifies for you. However, if you want to get a little fancy with it because, you're a little advanced and, this is a little exciting, it's a little fun, you could actually look at what's available to you. And what I've come across in my retirement accounts is frequently like international funds. There's frequently like S&P 500 following funds. So you just look for the word 500 in the name. Like, okay. Like tech funds, like this is certain specific things. And then I would pick like for me, I've picked like 2 or 3 and then put all my money that way instead of like what it used to be was it would pick like all of them and just put like, if you don't choose anything, sometimes we'll just pick a little bit of everything. And I just don't feel like that's effective because, first of all, it's not intentional. I think intentionality is so important in investing. And then second, I don't know. I want to know what I'm invested in, more or less. Like I know what the total stock market, you can't know every single thing that's in there if you don't really look at it, but I want to have a little bit more control. So that's why I choose. But a target date fund is more than enough for you to do what you got to do and get out of there. Mm-hmm.
I like it. So that is awesome because like 90% of the people don't even do the first step, which is investing
Yes.
in themselves. So we are talking to the 10% people who actually do invest in themselves. Why is it such the number one thing for you in your main step?
So I think, again, mindset plays a big role. Like I think that by making sure that we're taking care of first, the anxiety that comes from being broke, I'm sure everybody to some degree has felt when money's been tight. Okay. Do y'all want to feel that again? I mean, I don't, I keep telling, like, I make jokes, like my cousin, like, I'm not going back to Haiti. I wasn't born there, but that's the vibe. That's the vibes I give. Okay. That I want my money be taken care of, So, and by doing that, by having a practice of spending and saving, that supports not only a great life today, but also secures your future, it makes money back burner. You're not making decisions on things because of money being the first thing. Like, oh, I can't afford or I can't afford. It's like, okay, these are the options I have ahead of me because I do have money, So an example I shared in my community is when I live in a condo and the elevator had to be replaced. They told us that since we moved here. But it was like, you just kept hearing about it. And then finally, years later, like, okay, it's time to do it. Now you have 30 days to decide if you're going to, if you're going to pay 10 grand, like right off rip, or if you want to take a loan out. And so when I did the math, I'm like, it's going to cost like almost, I think over $5,000 more if we took the loan versus paying it off rip. I'm like, but at this time, this could be like a panicky thing. Like I have a short amount of time to make this big financial decision. But no, it's like I get to make this decision now because I have the money set aside. And then like, now let's do the math. Let's see, where are we in a season of life? What other projects do we have going on that'll help us make this decision that work for us versus, my hair's on fire, got to do something. Like I have no choice but to take this loan because I never, was responsible with, making sure I was taken care of first.
I like that. I think that's almost like we used to grew up calling it the rainy day fund, and then in the FI community call it the FU money, and I was like, or the emergency fund, and I'm like, I like the rainy day fund, but it rains any other day, so it's just like, are you prepared at any other moment that it's going to rain, even though it's in the forecast? We can kind of predict when things are about to go awry. For the most time, it's like, hey, you're supposed to change your tire, they bald now, and oh no, you sliding around the road. Wonder why.
Yeah.
The rainy day fund. Like,
that's it. That's it.
So,
and it doesn't matter what you call it as long as it's something that makes sense for you, right? Something that's going to make you believe in putting the money aside, right? Like, so whatever that might be, maybe your inspiration is like, you want to make sure that if your kids sums up with your kids, like you're good. Maybe it's your, Johnny's fund or whatever, like whatever's going to make sense for you to motivate you to put that, like where it's like making a decision that's not in line with your goals. Like, let's say you didn't plan to buy something that just went on sale and everybody's talking about it. And then you put in your mind, like, hey, Johnny's fund. It's like, is this helping me with Johnny's fund or no? You know? So
Right.
I think a powerful why is going to be what helps you stay on track with both goals, whether it's to actually spend money or to save money.
I like that. And because a lot of times we actually do get in our own way of growing our wealth because we fear of, people asking for money or fear
Mm.
talking about it because our circles can't handle that you're doing quote unquote a little better,
Mm-hmm.
but you're being intentional. So how do we get across that fear?
Okay, so children of immigrants, right? The whole expectation is that you're going to take care of the people behind you, right? And what
Black
I've
tax?
learned, what I have learned is through my personal finance journey is there's no way, it's kind of like the oxygen mask example, right? Everybody uses that. Like, you cannot help other people if you are yourself are not safe. So if you allow people, so first you have to come to this realization, this is not selfish, right? If I continue to give what I do not have, I will not have anything left to give. And then what kind of, I don't want to say what use are you? Everybody has a use and value, but like, then what? You know? So knowing you could even use that in your argument or your discussion, like, this is what I have available and this is what like, that's it. Like, you don't have to tell them what you have per se, but this is what I have available. If that's enough, great. If it's not, then that's just too bad. Okay? Because the only way that I can continue to be of assistance and like be able to help without having resentment, be able to help without, causing myself burnout, be able to continue to help and be useful as a society besides just a cash cow, and I'm gonna need to set boundaries. So fortunately, I've been in my family, like, people kind of know, like, not to mess with me, because I don't want to put myself in a situation where mentally, like, I feel, anxious or depressed because, like, I'm giving more than I actually physically or emotionally can. And so if it's going to give me distress to give this to you, like, why would you even want it? Like, I don't even know why anybody would want that, And people
Yeah.
who would purposely push past your boundaries, to me, they're not people that I want around.
And so going around prior to setting up your boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
because, granted you got married and sometimes a lot of people already set up the boundary already, like, oh, well, you're already busy. We don't want to do that to you,
Mm-hmm.
and get involved. But when it comes to putting your foot down through marriage, even between the two of you,
Mm-hmm.
how is that discussion? How has that been?
Wow, it's actually very interesting because my husband had recently, I think after the pandemic, has started a business that was not successful. And so what's the name? Like, that was an interesting, like, I guess, trial to be put through. And like, listen, we have to figure out like what's allowable and what's not. So just for context, pre-pandemic, when life was all normal, we were all like doing the dang thing when it came to our money. Like, we each had our own systems when it comes to our
Mhm.
budgeting, and we kind of fed into, like, we have hours, her hours money, and then like each person put money towards the hours, and it was all fine and dandy. Then this happens and it's put this heavy weight of debt, sorry, heavy weight of debt on our household. And so I'm like, okay, this means things have to change. Like, it just doesn't make sense because I'm not getting less rich because of you. It's just not gonna happen. So, so we have to figure some things out. I didn't want to thwart my plan. If I had to, then I would. But I'm like, I'm gonna do the darnest stuff possible to keep doing the things I was doing, like maxing out my retirement, maxing out my things. So what it meant, I'm like, listen, buddy, we gotta sit there and talk. I'm like, okay, what
Hey, buddy,
what
come on back.
like what, and really trying to make this approachable too, right? Because I don't, everybody's capable of error. Okay. You can't succeed at things without making mistakes. So I wanted it to be clear to him that I'm not doing this out of judgment. It's like, listen, we have to figure this out. The only way we get out of this together is by like coming together of minds. So it's like, what is it that I need from you? Because me as a woman, especially, safety and security is a big thing. And that big pile of debt don't feel secure. Right.
Right.
And even though it wasn't my debt, we're still a couple, right? I don't want him to suffer unnecessarily too. So like, let's sit down, let's make a budget. And so like initially it was very heavy for him. I could tell whenever he would come to sit to have the conversation, it's like, I'm like, why are you so upset? Like,
Yeah.
what's done is done. Like now we're just like managing it. Let's sit there together and to see over the time, like how, like now he comes to like, we go sit and talk about it and it's not so heavy. I'm like, so there's a patience involved and there's a lot of discussion. Like, hey, this is what I need from you. Are you willing to do that? And it's just the open communication, loving communication as well. Like I do not put my man down because this happened, right? And even when he says, "Oh, this is all my fault," none of that matters anymore. Like let's get
Yeah.
to that. So there's a lot of, I feel like I'm bringing it up a little bit, but there's a lot of love that's needed in order to make this successful. And then it comes to the boundaries, it's talking about like what is important to you as the person in the relationship. Like don't forgo your needs because, you're part of a couple. Be honest because you don't want to wind up resentful. You don't want to wind up spiteful. Like just talk about it and try to talk. Don't like wait when somebody comes home from a long day of work and they be like, got this feeling, like try to let try to let
Right.
some time like pass by and like really sit down. I always try to encourage him, like, let's sit down at eye level instead of like one standing and one sitting and like someone's thrown up, like he's scrolling on his phone trying to unwind. I'm not trying to like have to listen, I want to talk right now,
Right.
like let's make the space for us to hear each other, love each other through this. I hope
I
that
like
answered the
that.
question.
So come up with this question. I'm thinking about it because I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, do you just kind of like, hey, like, how do you, what do you do to bring it up? Because I know somebody
Mhm.
listening to it right now might be going through a situation and be like, we really need to talk about this. Like, they probably talked to their friends first
Mm.
before they even brought it up to the house. So how do you do that?
So at least for myself, 'cause I'm not like a relationship expert, right? This is
No,
my
that's fine.
personal experience, just making sure.
It worked for
So,
you, right?
so initially, I think, well, money has always been a part of our relationship because ironically, the beginning of the story was that his relationship with money was so like clean and so like
Mm,
direct that it was like it changed my life. Like literally. Like I could have probably been a debt girly to this day if it wasn't for the fact that I married him. So I think and I always bring that up when having a conversation. So like, you talk about Sanders generation, this Sanders conversations too, right?
I love
You
it.
start
Yeah.
off with the good thing, right? Like, why do I even want to be with you?
Mhm.
Even though we're going through the stressful thing. So I always remind him, like, listen, this story started out, the whole reason we can even have this conversation without like worrying about being put out of our house is because you started off our family very well when it came to our finances. So that's one. However, we have this situation that just occurred and we need to find a way to manage it because it's stressing me out. Okay. So like, what can we do to make sure that this is actually managed well? Like what things are you aiming to do? What are your goals? And then like, how can we marry what you want and what I want? Right. And then kind of find a place in the messy middle that's going to work.
Mhm.
And then we just close out with love. Okay. Cause it's just like, listen,
Oh,
we can do this, and the first conversations may be awkward. Like I explained without like he was so uncomfortable.
I
And
know.
but like over time, as you get used to having the conversation, I think you had
Mhm.
another person who was talking about that too. Like
Yep.
on your past pack that like you get more comfortable. It becomes nothing now. I find that I even had a conversation with some other girl about her finances and she was like, it was so awkward. I'm like, why? But it's because I do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So make that normal in your relationship. And then over time, it'll get so much easier.
I like that. And that where the confidence and competence come into play. That's
Yes.
amazing. So, we come out to the future side of the house, which is the third segment. And so what habits that you feel is going to take you to the next level that you're working on now?
So seeing as we have this debt that we're working on, that is so I'm not moving as fast as I was, let's say 2, 3 years ago when it comes to my investments. But the fact is that the work that I've put into my investments is already starting to compound on its own. So
Nice.
like last year, my investments made more money than I did. And I'm like, you know,
Congrats.
that's awesome. I mean, I don't make pennies. I'm a nurse, you know, so it's pretty awesome to see your work from back then, like making an effect today. But I'm still not trying, because I don't do try. I do. So what I
There we go.
do is make sure that I max out my retirement every year. And then I max out, that's both my 403B at work and my retirement accounts and my IRA. And once my IRA is maxed out, whatever was going to that every paycheck then goes to my brokerage account, because, you know, I don't plan on waiting until 67 to retire.
I see.
So, so like, and then too, there's other things that are in play that are not so future casted. Like my home, we've been here since 2015. There are upgrades that need to be made. So it's like, I know right now we're working on getting a new couch. So it's like expanding how much is going to the condo account. So that way, like when that money's there, we can go purchase our couch. Like there's some things that are, you know, like short-term future, and you got your long-term future. I already know, like I have a list of things that I was going to get upgraded up in this house. Okay.
Right.
But like everything with intention, right? Like I
Yes.
don't want to go into unnecessary debt to get something. And I'm not saying like, you know, a lot of times I'll do things like, you know, if you pay, like if you go to Best Buy and get something and you could do 0%, I'm not opposed to that, as long as you know you have that built in your budget. Not like you're just going to squish it in and try to make it work. Like make sure you're able to handle this. So even having the cash beforehand or making sure you can finance it responsibly.
Responsibly.
Yes.
You had to clearly.
Emphasis.
So is there something you want to leave the person that's listening right now with before we dive into the final four?
Yeah. So, I mean, the pay yourself first to me is like always the biggest thing. I think that once you recognize the power that you have in yourself to make this happen, that'll make the difference. You will make the changes you want to see in your finances once you know that you have the power to do so, rather than being concerned about government policy that's limiting you from doing this. There is stuff happening in the world. I'm not negating that is making stuff way challenging. Okay. But does that mean you're going to stop that from making it work for you? Do you want to work at McDonald's when you're 60? I mean, I have no desire for that. So,
Right.
you know, I'm going to work with what I've got to make it work. Regardless of the fact that, yes, we do not have the same advantages as some of the generations that came before. Yes, things are expensive as heck, okay, in comparison to what wages are now. But what can we do about it is what my next focus is. Like, acknowledge the thing, but like, what are we going to do next? Because complaining about it is not going to make you rich.
I love that. That might actually be going on, write that down right now. Complaining about it will not make you rich. That actually might be the title of the show. Okay. Because I love that. So you ready for the final four?
Sure.
Question 1. What does wealth mean to you?
Wealth means to me being able to make decisions without first asking, can I afford it? Like, I want other things to matter first. Like, do I want to do it? Who would I like to do it with? How would that experience be like? And then decide whether or not, like, is money a factor?
All right. Number 2. What was your worst money mistake?
So the first year I graduated, I don't think it even took a year. Okay. Once I graduated college, I got 2 new cars that same year. Let me explain this story.
Okay.
Yes, child. Okay. So what happened was I had a dream car. I'm not a big car girly, but yeah, I had a dream car. I was like, when I get my nursing license, I get that check, I'm going to get that car. Right. So I got that car. When I went for my first maintenance, they let me borrow a car. I was like, oh, I like that one better. Switch that sucker right out. And
Wow.
just because I could, like, why? Like, who does that?
You?
Who does me? Okay, that was like such a silly thing. I'm not gonna say it was that destroyed me financially by any means, but man, I was like, you really had no clue what you was doing when you're like, it was just like, it's like play money, like Monopoly money. That's what you acting like, you know. And I had like shoes, like I had more shoes than anybody could fit. Like it was obscene. I would go to Charlotte Russe. Nobody knows that store anymore because it don't exist. But I would come out with boxes. My arms hurt carrying all the boxes out the store. And for what?
Wow.
Yeah, that was me. Basically, I'm like, I don't even wear, I keep throwing them out because, you know, after COVID, the dry rot was getting people's shoes. Like, I was just chucking shoes left and right. I'm like, I don't even need it. I wear like a pair of sneakers, a pair of boots, and that's it. My slippers.
You need a little bit of flats, couple from time to time. Number 3, is there a book that inspired your journey or changed your perspective?
Yes. Well, We Shall All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers. I just feel like when I read it, I don't remember what made me read the book, but the pink cover does help. Okay. But it was I don't remember if it's pink. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. But it was more so the mentality. I think women a lot of times have a very self-sacrificing spirit when it comes to their finances, especially. And like I think the messaging out there, especially when it comes to women, is like you need to spend less. Like you're doing too much and all this. Like, and if you're not doing stuff like your kids and your husband, then it's like you're being selfish or it's like that. No, like Rachel Rogers in the book, she's like sharing like, hey, like it's okay to get like somebody to clean the house, like to give you time to do other stuff. Like it really does give permission to like use money as a tool to build the life you want, not so much so other people are accepting of what you do with your money. It's so that you feel good about it. I think that's pretty awesome.
I like that. I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, just never.
She was at FinCon too, twice.
I know. Yeah, that's what I say. Like I seen her. It was like I just never read the book. Let's see. Number 4. What is your favorite dish to make?
Excited for this question because I don't like to cook, not a bit.
So you're excited about it, but that's.
I was like, I can't wait for him to ask me this question. I don't like to cook. Do I cook because I have to eat, right? But I do love to eat. So therefore, in terms of so when I cook, it's for health and fitness goals. That's why I cook. I eat. I love me some Italian. You can give me spaghetti and meatballs all the way up to like your like bolognese. I love me some Italian food. I love Mexican food. I just love food. I love cultural food. Okay. Just put it in front of me and I'll likely eat it.
Okay. Yeah, there's some creatures I will not eat. So
no, okay. Yes. I'm a little adventurous though. I've had alligator.
Oh, how was that actually?
It's uneventful. It was just, I felt like one of those things like you just say you did, it wasn't that special. And I had a blue crab sandwich. That was good from Florida and like the Keys. That was good. It looked like a whole crab in your food too.
Wow. Yeah, I'm allergic, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, because in Maryland, there's a huge crab place in Maryland. So yeah, see it all the time, but
who knows? Maybe science will make it to a point where you won't have allergies. Who knows?
We'll see. I might have to invent that,
Yeah.
If somebody listening, steal my invention, but just slide me some dollars. Sell me 2%, 5%.
That's hilarious.
That's all I need. All right. So this is the last question of the show, which is where could people find out more about you?
So I'm on a lot of the socials like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. Most places I'm at Our Green Life NJ, like New Jersey. And that's my handle, except of course on LinkedIn. It's just under my name, Prisca Benson. Come get your money content.
Go. Well, thank you so much, Prisca. This was actually pretty fun, and it's good to see you outside of FinCon.
Yes, it was.
So so remember for you listening, is that try not to put both shoes on at the same time, because if you do, you can wind up hurting yourself. Take your time and just do one at a time. You got this. You have the confidence, and I believe in you to tie your shoes. All right. So thank you so much. Y'all be safe. Yeah, this is too funny. Not stopping.
That's hilarious.
Right. Stop recording.
You should put that on the blooper.
I would have. It was going to be in the bloopers for sure, but I'm like, I'm pressing the button. Oh my gosh, it's not stopping. Why is it not stopping? Another button.
Well, I can't help you because there's no stop button on my side.
I know. Like, I can't hit the transcript. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's probably going in the bloopers for sure. Because I'm like, where's my... All right, I'm going to refresh and come back.
Okay.
All right. Okay.